Hey everybody, so it's Wemgatch here, Matthew Fogel, and been watching Stefan Ringer's excellent YouTube videos and tutorials, and what he's doing with his Model 24 is actually pretty close to what I'm doing. He's using his Mon 1 and Mon 2 in conjunction with the sub to send basically attach a couple of stereo pedals inbound on 1718 and 19 and 20 in order to create additional effect sends. Fantastic, just really awesome little stereo pedals he's using there, and really enjoy what he's doing. Something I'm doing in my hybrid mixing with the Model 24 is I picked up this Model 2, Teac Model 2, probably about 3 or 4 weeks before I got the Model 24, just with the intent of having a stopgap for the Space Basement Collective Jams. Never ended up using it there, but I had it, and it really makes this wonky kind of transistorized noise. This thing, by the way, it is originally the mixer for the original Teac home studio system. It would normally be used to mix between a 4-track reel-to-reel and mix down to a 2-track mastering reel-to-reel. Here I am using it just essentially instead of a saturation plugin. I mean, obviously I could use a saturation plugin, but what would the fun of that be? And then it didn't come with the meter bridge. I got it on Reverb by this really awesome fellow out in Vancouver. I can't remember his name right now. And I'm just using our old realistic stereo mixing console that Frank Gerhardt and I had, I don't know, probably 20 years ago. I'm using that as the meter bridge. So at any rate, here's how the routing goes. The routing for the 5 channels that I'm using. Now, I don't use number 6, channel A. It's pretty much shot, probably because that's what was used for. Used by as a microphone PA for most of this thing's existence, and it's just messed right up. But the other 5 are fine, and so I'm using it this way. I have left and right here is essentially 1 through 6 are just going to main, and I use those if I'm mixing. I can use those to send hybrid information from a send within Reaper back to these. If I'm using this board, I tend to use the 5 and 6, which I've listed as left and right, for vocals, because the Teac Model 2 is a little bit fuzzy sounding. It definitely has a bit of static, and it's not great for vocals, but it's fun for guitars. So the sub, you can see I've got the sub is marked here, sending the left and right. Those are going from the left-right output into 3 and 4, or rather 2 and 3 on the Teac, and then through to the bus, and then from the bus they go back to 19 and 20. Then I have monitors 1 and 2 are set. You can see I've got the volume for monitors 1 and 2 set here, and they are sending to 4 and 5 on the board here. And then lastly, the effects. I have the effects, the onboard effects is disabled because I have the effects out plugged in. And so that effects with it turned up is sending to number 6 here, which is effects 1. For effects 1, I have a high cut at 5K and no low cut. And I'm essentially using this. I send bass and usually kick drum to this guy. This one here, monitors 1 and 2, you can see I've got them set just dead center. Nothing's really touched on there. This has got a really stupid simple EQ. It's just high and low cuts. And then for the guitars that I'm sending on the sub, I've got both the low cut at 100 and the high cut at 10K engaged, just to kind of round out the sound, give it a bit of that electric guitar crunch. You can see as well, I've already done this. This is a project that I'm working on for Shady Business, just a local band, friends of mine forever. And they asked me to make some changes to the recording and just take a couple of files out. So I'm essentially resending, and it's the last project I worked on. So the EQ is already set up. I'm not touching anything on this EQ here. On the stereographic EQ, I set it up the way I want it. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to play the individual sends from Reaper, which I'll show you in a moment. They're going to come through on 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. They're going to go through the, they're going to go, in the case of 5 and 6, is going to go directly to main. In the case of 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, they are going to route through the Teac and then come back on 19 and 20. 19 and 20 is set here as well. I had the volume already set at the level I wanted it. And that is also being sent to main. And then the main, I've got the EQ engaged on the main, and I'm recording that main back on 23 and 24 within Reaper. So what I will be doing is effectively printing all of the hybrid, all of the manually configured analog EQ, including the high and low pass switches on this box, as well as the rudimentary graphical EQ on the 24's, Model 24's main output. And that's what we're going to do. So let's go over here, take a look at what I have set up here. Mind the mess. The studio's, it's also my office. It's after 5, so I'm done my day job for the day, and it's my hobby. So I've got the stems all set up with individual sends. In this case, what I've done is I've disabled the standard output to 21 and 22 that I normally use. And then I have outputs set up, in this case, hardware outputs. I know there's different ways I could have done this within Reaper, but this is how I'm most comfortable doing it. I also have pretty simple setup with just some Shep's omnichannel channel strips set up with some presets that make me happy. And then over here, I'm using MV Meter 2 to create a virtual VU stack, like you would see in on a old school analog reel-to-reel recorder. That's just for funsies. I don't know if it has any practical purpose other than the fact that I think it's cool. And then the other thing that I usually do here is I will set up I'll set up the meter bridge in stereo here and add that as well, so I can just monitor what's happening as we are recording. And that one is set inbound, so that this is going to measure exactly the signal that's coming back as it hits the digital recording built into Reaper. So I have no idea whether this is going to be any good, whether the mix is okay. I think it's okay, but I didn't touch anything. So let's find out. We're going to go ahead and hit record now, and you're going to see I am tracking back. Yeah, I mean, this is stuff that I've picked up on the internet from mainly the more of the independent home recorders and project studio recorders. Like I said, Stefan Ringer, Wytse Studios, amazing. He's a Reaper user, so I've learned a heck of a lot from him. Obviously, I don't have all the fancy gear that he has, and his studio is awesome. Go support his channel. But here we go. I'm going to print. We'll see how that goes. Oh, and I forgot to mention these are meters are tied to my sends. So this is what's being sent out on the hybrid channels that I have assigned. You kind of see the vocals are at the top there, guitars are the second one down, the drums are the third one down, the bass is the fourth. Let's go over and make sure that I haven't completely broke the Model 24. Let's see this. This is pretty much pegged. That's usually what I expect to see. People with the Model 24 will know that that line is minus 12 dB, so I've got plenty of headroom there actually. Let's see what's coming in. So admittedly it's a poor man's console, but it's fun. I'm just playing with this stuff. And the result I'm getting is kind of neat. And like I said, I know other guys they're using this to add some effects pedals and whatnot. One of the things I've done in the past is I've used this little tube bass preamp just to, it's actually a preamp for like a cassette deck or a phonograph, and it just is noisy, and sometimes noise is fun. There we go. There's my rolling keyboard, and we are going to hit stop. I've covered my thumb, I've covered I've used my thumb to cover the camera a couple times. It's gonna be really amateur. All right, so we'll save all. Let's take a look at our WAV file here. Okay, it looks okay. And then to check it, let's turn off that. We'll go over here, unmute this send, mute these sends so that we're not listening to the wrong thing. Oops. Right click that. Send. Okay, so our sends are switched now. So now I'm just using 21 and 22, which is what I generally use as my default monitor channel on the 24. That's something that anyone can custom choose. And here we go. We'll listen to it. Oh. Actually, let me just double check. Show send parameters. Oh, I'm still going to master. Okay. So, hang on one sec. Actually, what I should be doing is this. Mute, 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 mute. All right. Now I should only be hearing the master. Now you can see just that's showing. That's the return track. All right, sounds okay. I'm not going to bore you guys with the rest of this. There we go. Yeah, so yeah, that's me messing around with hybrid mixing. Shout out to the Tascam forums. Thanks guys for being awesome. And we'll go back to just having this channel showing off music and noise and stuff. Cheers.